Hi, and welcome to Ginger English. I'm Sarah, and today we have an A2 level podcast for you. Okay, I want to ask you something. Do you have a favorite place? Maybe a coffee shop? Maybe a small restaurant? A place where you go often? A place where people know your name? A place that feels safe? Now imagine this. You work at a coffee shop. Every day, the same man walks in every single day. He is old. He always sits alone. He always orders the same thing, a black coffee and a blueberry muffin. He never talks much, but he always smiles at you. And somehow, you start to look for him. Every morning, you look at the door, and when he walks in, you feel okay. Like everything is normal. His name is George. And then one day, he doesn't come. You think, okay, maybe he is just tired today. Maybe he went to the doctor. Maybe he has plans. But the next day, he doesn't come again. And the next day, and the next. And you start to think, where is George? Is he okay? Does anybody know? Does anybody care? These are the questions that Lily asked. Lily is a young woman. She works at a small coffee shop in Ohio. She is 24 years old. She doesn't know George very well, but she knows his order. She knows his smile. She knows that he always says thank you, not just with words, but with his eyes. And when George disappears, Lily can't just let it go. This is her story, and it is going to break your heart, but also give you hope. Stay with me. Now, before I tell you more, let me paint the picture a little better. The coffee shop is called Morning Cup. It is a small place, not big, not fancy. There are maybe 8 tables. The walls are yellow. There are old photos on the wall, black and white photos of the town from maybe 50 or 60 years ago. It smells like coffee and cinnamon. In the morning, it is always warm inside, even when it is cold outside. Lily has worked there for 2 years. She knows almost all the regular customers. There is a woman who comes every Tuesday with her dog. There is a teenage boy who always does his homework at the corner table. There is a couple who always share one sandwich and one coffee, never 2. And then there is George. George is different. He comes every day, Monday to Friday, always at 8:15 in the morning. He wears a blue jacket. Always the same blue jacket. He has white hair and big glasses. He walks slowly. When he comes in, he says, "Good morning." Just 2 words, but very clearly, very politely. Then he goes to his table. Table number 3, the one near the window. Lily always brings him his coffee before he even asks. He smiles. She smiles. That is it. Simple, quiet, ordinary. Until it isn't. So let me tell you more about Lily. Lily grew up in a small town in Ohio. Her parents worked hard. Her mom was a nurse. Her dad drove a truck. They didn't have a lot of money, but they had a warm home. Lily learned something important from her parents. She learned to see people, really see them. Not just their face, but their eyes, their hands, the way they sit, the way they say, "I'm fine," when they are not fine. When Lily was 19, she moved to Columbus. She wanted to study. She wanted a different life, but things were not easy. College was expensive. She got a part-time job at a coffee shop just for a few months, she thought. That was 5 years ago. Now she is 24. She still works at Morning Cup. She didn't finish college, but she doesn't feel bad about it. She loves her job. She loves the morning light in the coffee shop. She loves knowing people's orders by heart. She loves the feeling when someone walks in tired and leaves with a smile. That is Lily. And now, George. Nobody at Morning Cup knows much about George. That is the truth. He is quiet. He doesn't talk about himself. When Lily asks, "How are you today, George?" he always says the same thing. "Fine, thank you." "And you?" And when she answers, he listens. Really listens. He nods. He looks at her, and then he drinks his coffee and looks out the window. Lily's coworker, a girl named Dana, always said, "That old man is so sad. Look at him, always alone, always quiet." But Lily didn't think he was sad. She thought he was peaceful, like a man who has seen a lot of things in life. And now he just sits and drinks his coffee and watches the world. George is 71 years old. Lily doesn't know this at first. She finds it out later. She also finds out his last name, Miller. George Miller. A simple name. A common name. The kind of name you forget easily. But Lily doesn't forget George. Because George has something. Something that is hard to explain. When you are near him, you feel calm. Like the world is not so fast. Like it is okay to just sit and breathe and drink your coffee slowly. Lily notices this from the first week, and she thinks about it sometimes when she is at home after work. Why does this man make her feel this way? She doesn't know him. He is not her grandfather. He is not her friend. He is just a customer. But some people just stay with you, you know? So when George stops coming on a cold Tuesday in November, Lily feels it immediately. She doesn't say anything to Dana. She doesn't tell her manager. She just feels it. Like something is missing, like the morning is not complete. She makes a black coffee at 8:15 by habit. And then she looks at the door and nobody comes. She puts the coffee down. She looks at table number 3, empty. The chair is a little crooked. Nobody moved it back. And Lily thinks, where are you, George? The first day is not so bad. Lily tells herself it's okay. People miss a day sometimes. Maybe George has a doctor's appointment. Maybe he slept in. Maybe he just wanted a quiet morning at home. That happens. It's normal. She cleans table number 3 carefully. She straightens the chair. She wipes the window next to it. Just in case he comes later. He doesn't come later. The second day, Lily starts to feel a little worried. She watches the door more. Every time it opens, she looks up. An old woman with a red coat. A young man with a backpack. 2 teenagers. A mom with a baby stroller. Not George. Dana notices. "You okay?" she asks. Lily says yes. She doesn't explain. The third day, Wednesday, Lily is really worried now. 3 days? That has never happened before. In 2 years, George has never missed 3 days in a row. Not once, not even in winter, not even when it was snowing outside. At lunch, when the coffee shop is quiet, Lily sits down at the counter. She thinks, what does she know about George? Not much. He comes every morning. He wears a blue jacket. He orders a black coffee and a blueberry muffin. He says good morning and thank you. He looks out the window. Does she know where he lives? No. Does she have his phone number? Of course not. Does she know his family? No. She doesn't even know his last name yet. That comes later. She feels strange. This man has been part of her morning for 2 years, and she knows almost nothing about him. How is that possible? She asks her manager, a man named Rick. Hey, do you know anything about the old man, George? Blue jacket, table by the window? Rick thinks for a second. Oh yeah, nice guy. Pays cash, always leaves a tip. He pauses. Why? Lily says. He hasn't been in for 3 days. I'm a little worried. Rick shrugs. Maybe he went to visit family. And he goes back to his office. Maybe he went to visit family. Lily sits with that idea. Family. Does George have family? He never talks about family. Never says my son or my daughter or my wife. Never shows photos. Never talks about holidays or birthdays. She thinks about all the small conversations they have had, all the good mornings and how are yous, and she realizes George has never once mentioned another person. Not one. That night, Lily can't sleep well. She lies in her bed and thinks about George, about his white hair, his big glasses, his slow walk, his quiet smile. She thinks, what if something happened to him? What if he fell? What if he is sick? What if he is at home alone and nobody knows? The thought is cold, like ice in her chest. She makes a decision. Tomorrow, she will try to find him. She doesn't know how yet, but she will try. She has to. The next morning, Lily comes to work early. Before her shift starts, she talks to Rick again. Rick, I need to find George, the old man. Is there any way to get his information, like an address, a phone number? Rick looks at her. He is a little surprised. Lily, we don't collect that kind of information. He pays cash, remember? We have nothing. Lily nods. She already knew that, but she had to ask. She thinks of another idea. George always walks to the coffee shop. She has seen him through the window. He comes from the left side of the street, so he probably lives nearby, maybe just a few blocks away. After her shift, Lily walks. She walks slowly down the street to the left of Morning Cup. She looks at the buildings. Old apartment buildings, small houses, a pharmacy, a laundromat. She doesn't know what she is looking for exactly. She just walks. Then she sees something. A small community board on the wall near the pharmacy. People put papers there, lost cats, things for sale, local events. And there, a small card. White paper, simple black text. George Miller, piano lessons for beginners. A phone number, an address, 2 blocks away. Lily stands very still. George Miller. She reads it again and again. Piano lessons. She never knew. In 2 years, she never knew that George played piano. She thinks about his hands, long fingers, always clean. She remembers now, yes, his hands looked like a musician's hands. She takes a photo of the card with her phone. Then she walks, 2 blocks, left turn, a quiet street with old trees. She finds the building, number 14. A small brick building, 4 floors, old but clean. She looks at the names near the door. Miller, apartment 2B. She presses the button. Silence. She waits. She presses again. Nothing. Her heart beats fast. She presses one more time. She waits a long minute. Then a sound. Slow steps. Very slow. And then a voice. Old, quiet, a little tired. Who is it? Lily takes a breath. George, it's Lily from Morning Cup, the coffee shop. A long pause. Lily? Yes, I'm sorry to come here. I was worried about you. You didn't come for 4 days, and I wanted to make sure you are okay. Another pause, longer this time. Then the door opens. George stands in the doorway. He looks smaller than she remembered. His blue jacket is not on. He wears an old gray sweater. His hair is not combed. He looks tired, very tired, and something else, surprised. Like he cannot believe that someone came. Like he forgot that was possible. He looks at her for a moment. Then he says very quietly, "Nobody has come to this door in a long time." And Lily doesn't know what to say, so she just says, "I brought you a muffin." She holds up a small paper bag, blueberry, his favorite. And George, for the first time in 4 days, smiles. George invites her in. The apartment is small, very clean, but very empty. There is a sofa, a table, 2 chairs, a bookshelf with old books, and in the corner, a piano, old and dark, but beautiful. On top of the piano, there are 3 photos in frames. Lily looks at the photos. A young woman with dark hair, 2 children, a boy and a girl. They look happy. Summer, a backyard, everyone is smiling. Your family? Lily asks. George is quiet for a moment. He looks at the photos too. My daughter and my grandchildren. He pauses. Thomas is 12 now, or maybe 13. I'm not sure. Lily looks at him. Something in his voice is strange. Not angry, just far away. Like he is talking about people from a different life. Do they live nearby? She asks. George sits down slowly in his chair. He puts his hands on his knees. No, he says. They live in Portland. My daughter, her name is Karen. She moved there 8 years ago, after her mother died. He stops. After my wife died. Lily sits down on the sofa. She doesn't say anything. She just listens. Karen and I, George starts. He stops again. He looks at his hands. We had a big fight a long time ago about money, about the house, about many things. And then she stopped calling, and I stopped calling, and then years go by. You know how that happens? You think, I will call tomorrow, and then tomorrow becomes next week, and next week becomes next year, and then you don't even know where to start. Lily feels something heavy in her chest. How long? She asks quietly. How long since you talked to her? George thinks. 4 years, he says. Maybe 4.5. 4 years. No phone calls, no visits, no birthdays, no holidays, just silence. And your grandchildren? Lily asks. Thomas was 8 or 9 the last time I saw him. Little Emma was maybe 5. His voice is very quiet now, almost a whisper. She probably doesn't remember me. Lily looks at the photo again. The little girl with the big smile. Emma. She thinks about what it means to be forgotten by someone you love, by your own family, to sit in a small apartment and look at photos of people who don't call. To go to a coffee shop every morning, not because the coffee is good, but because it is the only place where someone says your name. Good morning, George. And suddenly she understands. She understands why George comes every day. She understands why he always sits at table number 3 near the window. She understands why he looks out at the street with that quiet, peaceful face. He is not peaceful, he is lonely. And he has learned to live with it so well that it looks like peace. Lily sits in that small apartment and feels something change inside her. Something quiet but strong, like a decision forming, not with words, but with feeling. She doesn't say it out loud yet, but she knows. She is not going to walk away from this. Before she leaves that evening, Lily asks George one question. George, do you have Karen's address in Portland? He looks at her, a little surprised, a little nervous. Yes, he says slowly. I have it. I wrote it down a long time ago. I always thought maybe one day I would write a letter. He is quiet. I never did. Can I have it? Lily asks. George looks at her for a long moment. He doesn't say yes. He doesn't say no. Then he gets up, goes to a small drawer in the kitchen, and comes back with a piece of paper. Old paper, the kind that has been folded and unfolded many times. He holds it in his hands for a second. Then he gives it to Lily. She takes it carefully, like it is something important, because it is. Thank you, she says. And George, please come back to the coffee shop. I miss you at table 3. He almost smiles. Almost. That night, Lily sits at her kitchen table for a long time. She has a pen, she has paper, and she has George's daughter's address. She doesn't know Karen. She has never met her. She has no idea how Karen will feel when she gets a letter from a stranger. Maybe she will be angry. Maybe she will throw it away. Maybe she will think it is strange and do nothing. But Lily thinks about George, about his hands on his knees, about the photos on the piano, about the little girl named Emma who probably doesn't remember her grandfather's face, and she starts to write. She writes simply, because that is the only way she knows. She says, my name is Lily. I work at a coffee shop in Columbus. Your father comes here every morning. He sits at table 3. He drinks black coffee. He is kind and quiet, and he always says thank you. And then she writes, I think he misses you. I think he wants to call, but he doesn't know how to start. I think he is very lonely, and I think you might be lonely too, because that is how it goes when families stop talking. Both people lose. She writes, I am not asking you to forgive everything. I am not asking you to forget the fight. I am just asking you to think about him, because he thinks about you. He has a photo of you on his piano. You are smiling in it. You look happy. I think he keeps that photo because he wants to remember you happy. She finishes the letter. She reads it again. It is not perfect. The words are simple, but they are true. And sometimes true is enough. She puts it in an envelope. She writes the address. She puts a stamp on it. The next morning, on her way to work, she stops at the mailbox on the corner. She holds the letter for a moment. What if this makes things worse? What if Karen gets angry and calls George and yells at him? What if this is a terrible idea? She thinks about George standing in that doorway, in his gray sweater, with his tired eyes, saying nobody has come to this door in a long time. She puts the letter in the mailbox, and then she goes to make coffee. 2 weeks go by. George comes back to Morning Cup. Not the next day, but 3 days after Lily's visit. He walks in at 8:15. Blue jacket, slow steps. He goes to table 3. Lily brings him his coffee before he asks. He looks up at her and says, very quietly, "Thank you for coming to find me." She just nods. She doesn't make it a big thing. She goes back to work. They don't talk about the letter. Lily doesn't tell him. She is not sure why. Maybe because she doesn't want to give him hope and then take it away. Maybe because she is not sure the letter will do anything at all. The days go by, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. George comes every morning. Things feel normal again. Almost. And then, on a Thursday, exactly 18 days after Lily sent the letter, something happens. It is almost noon. The morning rush is over. Lily is cleaning the counter. The door opens. She looks up. By habit, always by habit. A woman walks in. She is maybe 45 years old, dark hair. She wears a gray coat. She has a bag on her shoulder, and she looks tired, like someone who traveled far. She stands near the door and looks around the coffee shop slowly, like she is looking for something or someone. Then her eyes stop at table 3. George is there, blue jacket, coffee, looking out the window. The woman doesn't move for a moment. Her face is hard to read. Something between afraid and relieved. Like someone standing at the edge of a swimming pool, not sure if the water is cold. Lily watches. She doesn't move. She doesn't breathe. Then the woman walks, slowly, toward table 3. George is looking out the window. He doesn't hear her come. She stops next to his table. She puts her hand on the back of the empty chair across from him. "Dad," she says. George turns. The moment his eyes find her face, everything changes. His whole body changes. Like something frozen inside him suddenly breaks. His hands, those long, careful piano hands, start to shake a little. His eyes go red. He opens his mouth, but no words come. Karen sits down. She puts her bag on the floor. She looks at her father. Her eyes are wet too now. "I got a letter," she says quietly, "from a girl named Lily." George looks over at Lily. Lily is standing at the counter, very still. She gives a small wave. Just small. Just hello. George looks back at his daughter. "I didn't know she..." He starts. "I know," Karen says. "I know, Dad." And then, and this is the part that Lily never forgets for the rest of her life, Karen reaches across the table, and she takes her father's shaking hands in hers. and she holds them. They don't say anything for a long time. They don't need to. Lily turns around. She goes to the back of the coffee shop. She stands by the sink and she cries a little. Just a little. The quiet kind of crying that comes when something very broken becomes a little less broken. Then she washes her face. And she makes 2 coffees. And she brings them to table 3. On the house, she says, and she walks away. Karen stays in Columbus for 3 days. Every morning, she comes to Morning Cup with her father. They sit at table 3 together. They talk, sometimes quietly, sometimes not. Lily doesn't listen to what they say. That is not her business. But she sees their faces, and every morning, their faces look a little lighter, a little more open, like 2 windows after a long winter, finally open again. On the last morning, before Karen goes back to Portland, she comes to the counter. She looks at Lily. She doesn't say a lot. She just says, "Thank you for seeing him," when the rest of us stopped. Lily doesn't know what to say, so she just says, "He's easy to see." Karen smiles, and then she goes back to table 3, back to her father. Lily watches them from across the room. An old man and his daughter, drinking coffee, talking. Laughing a little, yes, laughing. She has never heard George laugh before. It is a good sound, warm and slow, like the man himself. 2 months later, Lily gets a photo in the mail. No letter, just a photo. George, Karen, and 2 kids, a teenage boy and a little girl with a big smile. They are all together. There is a Christmas tree in the background. Everyone is smiling. On the back of the photo, in small, careful handwriting, George's handwriting, it says, "Table 3 misses you. G." Lily puts the photo on her fridge. It is still there today. So, what do I take from this story? What is the thing I want you to remember? I think it is this. Sometimes the people around us are carrying something very heavy, and they don't say anything. They just come in every morning. They order the same thing. They sit in the same place. They say, "Fine, thank you," when you ask how they are. And we think, okay, they are fine, but they are not always fine. And you don't have to do something big. Lily didn't do something big. She walked 2 blocks. She pressed a doorbell. She wrote a simple letter. Small things. But the right things, at the right time, for the right person. Look around you. Is there a George in your life? Someone quiet. Someone always alone. Someone who says, "Fine," but maybe isn't. You don't have to fix everything. You just have to see them. Really see them. That is enough to start. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Ginger English. If this story touched your heart, please give it a like. It really helps the channel grow. And if you know someone who needs to hear this story today, share it with them. Maybe it will be the small thing that matters. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new episode. We have new podcasts every week. Real stories, real emotions, and always simple English, so everyone can follow along. I'm Sarah, and I will see you in the next one. Take care of each other.